Get your body. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Hey, good evening. Listen, welcome to the Vitamin M Show. I am your host. I am your hype girl. Listen, I am Marshall Sterling. This is the Vitamin M Show, where the M stands for what? Motivation. We are here to get you kicked off on your week, and you always know that it is an honor and a privilege when you allow me to come into your home each and every Sunday night at 6:30. Listen, you need your motivation because, why do you need it? Because you need to be able to produce positive thinking, to break down walls, and to exhibit resilience no matter what situation you are in. You need to be able to do those three things. But on tonight, listen, we're still continuing our series, My Story. Everybody has one. What's yours? But you know I cannot go into it if I don't do our little quick jingle. Hey, I see you getting your vitamins. Hey, I see you getting your vitamins. Hey, I see you getting your vitamins. I'll get your vitamins. I'll get your vitamins. I'll get your vitamins. Yes. I am so excited about tonight. I cannot stand myself. I'm telling you, every time we come on, I get excited, but every story, and every time I come on, it brings something very different. And again, we are continuing, our My Story. Everybody has one. What's yours? And I have someone that is near and dear to my heart that I consider a friend, but forever will always be my boss. And I dearly have a lot of respect and love for this individual. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about them, and then I'm bringing them right on to the show. Dr. Darryl Henson is a native of Houston. He currently serves as the superintendent of schools for Marlin ISD, a rural district southeast of Waco. Within his first 2 years of leading the district, Marlin ISD experienced unprecedented gains on state assessments. 21-22, they earned a rating of an 86, which is the B, which basically took out 10 years of being an F as a district. In the early years of his career, Dr. Henson served as a 4th grade teacher in Austin ISD, followed by teaching middle and high school mathematics and special education in Pflugerville and Houston ISD. Which is where we hooked up, prior to joining Marlin ISD, Dr. Henson served as the Assistant Superintendent of School Leadership in Cedar Hill ISD. Throughout the years, Dr. Henson has been regarded for his passion and vibrant personality, as he has built lasting relationships with students and community, and he has made such a huge impact on my life. Dr. Henson firmly believes that culture, curriculum, and community are the pillars of establishing and maintaining a thriving school system. Listen, all our Vitamin M viewers, please welcome to the show my forever, as I would say again, my forever boss, Dr. Darryl Henson.
Marshall, I'm so glad to be here. I feel the vitamin M, the motivation coming in already. So I am excited to be here on this evening, and just thank you again for the opportunity.
I am, you know what, when I started thinking about this, and I was like, wait a minute, who do I have to hear from? Who do I have to get in my chair? And I could not, I had to go ahead and make that phone call. I've been wrestling with it. So Dr. Henson, listen, is there anything else that you want people to know about your background, about your history, before we dive in?
I think the background and history is very simple. I'm a man who loves children, I love students, and I love education. And anything that I can do to just uplift not only the profession, but put children on a path for success, I'm going to do it. Yep. And I wear my emotions on my sleeve every single day. When they say that you shouldn't, guess what? I wear them, because children need to see that we love them, not just quietly, but out loud and publicly. They need their vitamin M too.
Yes, they need their vitamin M. I'm telling you, they need their vitamin M. Okay, let's kick it off. Dr. Henson, our series is My Story. Everybody has one.
Yes.
What's yours?
My story is one where I have to give homage to my parents and to my grandparents. There's no way that I can tell the story of this little young boy from Houston, Texas, without thinking about all of what they instilled in me to be the man that I am today. When I think about my journey all throughout life, I call it the story of not only overcoming, but just a story of structure, focus, and respect. I think back to being an 8-year-old boy sitting in the third grade. And I had a teacher that said, until the whole section or your whole table got it right, no one can go outside to recess. So at my pod, it was me and my homeboys, and they weren't the brightest crayons in the box. Their highlighter didn't highlight nothing. So days go by and we're the last ones just sitting there at the table. Everyone's outside. I hear the jump rope skipping. They're hopscotching. And I'm sitting there with my lesson complete and they're just trying to figure out left to right. Then I realized, let me teach them. Let me help them. Let me instruct them, because if I understand how to add fractions with different denominators, let me not only take in the lesson, but let me stop and show. So I made sure that as the teacher was going over the lesson, I would stop and I would teach and I would show them. As she's going over the lesson, I said, okay, guys, this is a different denominator. We got to find a way to make it the same number. Now, mind you, I don't know the appropriate terminology. I'm 8.
You're 8.
But I want to go outside and hoop, because I was tired of only getting recess for 2 minutes and I was trying to get my Jordan on. But what I noticed is little by little, they will understand. So now we were going out to recess first. And what that did for me, that took me back to lessons taught to me by my mother and by my grandmothers. You have to help others, because it's not just about you. There's always a bigger picture. And if God has blessed you with a skill set, with the mindset, with the heart, and someone else is lacking or there's a gap, just don't pray for them, actually help them, because faith without works is dead, including fraction work.
He said include fraction work.
Including fraction work.
Including fraction work. But what that is, you said something there that struck me, because you said I'm sitting there and you had a reason. Like there was a reason on the other. I got to go outside and get my hoop on.
I got to get my hoop on.
So if I got to get my hoop on, then I've got to figure out how to get the group.
I had to get the group ready so we can get outside. So, I mean, some might say it was a selfish motivation, but at the end of the day, that teacher bug bit me. So when I think about the next rest of my life, all throughout high school, I was that helper, I was that motivator, I was that encourager to my classmates. The same person that I was at 8, at 16, I am to this current day. So I went on to UT Austin, where I majored in elementary education. And I got all the appropriate degrees that I had to get in order to be a superintendent.
But don't you think that, Dr. Henson, don't you? You said something, you was like, some people call it selfish motivation. But in a sense, I was still like, but it worked though, because you got something, that you got what you wanted, but you were able to uplift somebody else in the end as well.
I was able to work through other people. And as a leader, you have to realize sometimes it's not just about you. How can you transfer your knowledge and skills through other people to help other people?
How do you transfer, or is it how do you transfer your knowledge and skills through other people to help other people? Listen, we are going to dive right in there after these messages.
Marshall Sterling is available for your next event. Known for her energetic speaking style and down-to-earth teaching, Marshall has made a positive impact on her audience at every engagement. Whether it is a keynote address, conference, workshop, breakout session, or staff meeting, Marshall brings the same fire and excitement to every session. To bring the Sterling experience to your next event, scan the QR code on the screen or go to www.marshallsterling.com.
Welcome back. We are here. The time is going by so fast. Whew, Dr. Henson and I in here having a great time. We had a great conversation over our break. And we wanted to, I wanted to kick back in, Dr. Henson. We left and we were talking about transferring of knowledge from us to other people. Pick us up right there and talk us through that.
Yeah, so I believe that if you have something, it's incumbent that you have to give it to other people. And it's not just academic knowledge. Sometimes it could be love. It can be that level of emotions. Everyone is not where you are, and you're not where everyone else is. So if we're constantly transferring love, thoughts, care, even hope, sometimes we got to speak hope into people just to be an encouragement. Sometimes you have to encourage yourself. That's Donald Lawrence. That's not me. And we have to truly make sure that if we're encouraging ourselves and we have that strength, we gotta pass it on. But every now and then, like Moses, you might have to hold me up. And that's a transfer, and that's a level of love that I believe that all people should have, especially educators.
Especially, but you said something, you were like, we have to hold each other up. What makes you say that, and what makes you believe? What makes you believe that? So we have to be like Moses and hold each other up? Why?
Because I realize that not one person can tackle the challenges of the city, the state, the country, or the world by themselves. I'm all for confidence. I'm all for it. But you have to also have enough competence to understand that we're stronger together with our unity. At the end of every church service, Baptist church,
Come
you
on.
hold hands next to your neighbor. And this is pre and post COVID. Reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make this world a better place if you can. And it's those songs to where it's not just the lyric, it's not just ceremonial, it's the message. Make this world a better place if you can by sharing and by passing things on.
I think so, Dr. It baffles me sometimes the amount of people that, and I know we're both in education, but I say education and just in the general world, that educators that don't get that don't
Correct.
love kids. I'm like, how are you here? I don't get it.
Because they love their direct deposit. Whenever it dings, whether it's once a month or twice a month. And it's sad that we've gotten to that state to where the direct deposit outweighs the future of a child. We have to deposit things into them now. Knowledge, hope, care, motivation, vitamin N, to prepare them for tomorrow. We have become so selfish as a society to where it's only about me and my family. But we have to love other people's children like our own.
We do. That is it. You have to love other people's children like they're your own. Dr. Henson, talk to us about, I want you to think about your childhood growing up. What is one big, what is one big event or something that happened or something that you experienced? Because mine would be stuttering. So getting past stuttering was a huge, and I think was a huge hurdle for me. So what is yours? And before I ask you that, I find it ironic, and I'm gonna have to keep this in the back of my mind. We're gonna come
Yes,
back to
ma'am.
this one.
Yes,
I find
ma'am.
it ironic that both of us and our pivotal point was third grade, because that third grade was it for me too. It's something about that third grade. It's something about that third grade year. But I'm gonna hold that. I want you to answer the question. What was that pivotal moment? Like, what was that one something in your childhood that just was like, that got you to where like now? Because you've done a lot to get to where you are.
Yes, ma'am. So I would say a pivotal moment in my childhood was there was a speech that I had to give at church. Mind you, a lot of my childhood memories and who I am as a person, it has to all go back to the church because that's where we learn how to speak, how to get in front of people. You 2 years old, before I give on to God, you just swallowing the little fuzzy microphone cover. But I remember being 12 years old, and I did not want to prepare for this speech. At a certain age, I told you realize, why am I doing this? I'm just memorizing it. It's
Yes.
rote. But when I realized that my mother and my grandmother, they always spoke about, if you have the ability to serve, then you serve. I was an usher. I was a junior deacon. And so when I think about just the leadership that I had as a young man in the church, here was this speech that I had to give that I did not want to prepare for, to get up in front of the congregation. And we're like an old school black church. Red pews, red hymnals, red carpet. Y'all know what I'm talking
You know
about.
we talking about.
And when I got over myself and I realized this isn't for me to just give a speech and get a few amens, it was to show and confess my knowledge and understanding of the Lord as a young man for everyone to see. I think in that moment, I realized that all of what I do, all of what I'm going to dedicate my life for is way bigger than me. It's not just about Darryl J. Henson. It's about other people, whether it's one person or 1,000 people.
That is what, that is.
Plus,
that
I
is,
didn't want to get a whooping either.
You didn't want to get, I was going to.
Yeah, I didn't want to get a whooping.
Because you don't get it.
Spare the rod, spoil the child.
Because you don't
All
get
the
it.
time in the Bible, spare the rod, spoil the child.
You just gonna get it.
Okay.
If you to get up and get that speech. I'm not gonna tell the story of what I did at church. We're gonna talk about that on commercial break. We're gonna talk about that on commercial break because I think one of them times I felt that too in my spirit that,
Yes.
that I wasn't doing it. And that wasn't the right thing to do. The right thing to do was to get up and go on and just say the speech. But you did. You prepared that. They gave you that speech and you practiced it and you
Yes.
practiced and then you had to get up and you had to say it and they didn't care. Nobody really.
They didn't care. Couldn't say it with an attitude. Couldn't have any bit of negative spirit in my speech. I better get up there and talk like I get ready, get ready, get ready. I better get up there and say it. I had no choice. But I'm thankful now. I'm thankful for the accountability.
Ooh.
I'm thankful for the love. I'm thankful for the motivation because these are the same things that I took into my classroom as a teacher. It's the same way that I led as a principal. It's the same expectation that I have of my community, of my faculty and staff right now in the role that I serve as superintendent. It all started from my parents and my grandparents.
That's but it did because I've watched you lead. And so in your leading though, you do lead with a lot of, there is accountability. And I will say, and I will say this, and I'm glad you're giving credit to your parents and grandparents because I've always thought that you held people accountable, but in a loving
Yes, ma'am.
manner, not trying to knock people down, not trying to do that, but to then love them through. And that's a hard characteristic for people in this day and age. Everybody can't guide and lead like that. Some people lead with the heavy hand of trying to knock people down, but that's not who you are.
Because who you are is who you are as a person. You can't fake the funk from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. At the core of who you are. And that's why it's important that I appreciate this platform that you have. People can always change. Mm-hmm. So as you're hearing various stories, as you're getting this motivation, what is it about you that you need to replay the tape and reflect on your life to say, well, what can I change? Because I'm going to interact with people all the time. So I respect you for doing this because as I reflect on my daily journey, on my weekly journey, how can I improve and get better? Because there's people's lives. We have the power to change the trajectory of thousands of children's lives every single day. And we could take that seriously or we could play around with it. I'm 39 and I'm still not trying to get a whooping, so I take it seriously.
He's still not trying to get a whooping. What does it look like when we change the trajectory of people's lives? What does that look like for you? Like if you were to talk to the audience and say, hey, it looks like this, what does that look like?
It looks like us having an understanding, using our wisdom for however long we've been on this earth. Mm-hmm. If this child continues down this path, we can pretty much predict what the outcome is going to be. Yeah. But we have to begin to step in and to intercede and begin to get you to change course. If we can get you to change course at any age, and we talk about the children between 5 and 18 years old, but even past that, if we can intercede and try to provide wisdom, guidance, vitamin M, then we can hopefully predict now a better outcome for their life because everyone only has one life and that time is so short and it's so brief. Not that we all have it right and that we're perfect, but in the areas that we have great things going for us, let's make sure that we're doing something for others to put them on a path to be productive citizens and just have and live the life that God placed in their heart and that we all speak over them and what we want for them to be.
Okay, Dr. Henson, now we've talked about background, we talked about growing up. So now talk to us about, because you are currently the superintendent of Marlin ISD. So
Yes.
like talk to us about Marlin's success and what's going on, because I follow, just because I said forever my boss. Forever. I don't even work in Marlin ISD, so just so y'all know, but I'm just saying, like, I'm forever my boss. So boss, go for it.
I've always said this, Marlin ISD is now formally the state's best kept secret. In May of 2020, I was blessed with the opportunity to be named the superintendent of the school district. At the time I came to Marlin ISD, it was the state's longest low performing district for over 4,000 plus days of failure and state intervention. That's a decade. In a decade, we say that word, oh, decade. But if you truly think how long a decade is, that's a whole generation of children going through a school system that was failing. So as I walk in, only your seniors and juniors have been a part of a school system that was academically successful. But I told myself, not on my watch. It was not going to happen
That's
because our
good.
children are capable. They have more than potential. They can actually perform. So we put together all the systems and processes, but more importantly, we put together our hearts and our emotions to touch the community, to touch the children, to touch the staff, to let them know not only can you be successful, you will be successful. When I look up and now going in on year 4, but within the first 180 days, we made a 180-degree turnaround.
Wow.
Within the first time scores are counted, we go from a 56 to an 86. We have received accolades from the state of Texas, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, just to recognize the academic achievements of the district. And then to top it off, we have passed a bond successfully to renovate and replace facilities to bring them up to the 21st century. So in Marlin, Texas, all is well. And I'm so excited knowing that we've had a 100% graduation rate for 3 years in a row. Everybody.
It,
And 100% of our high school seniors graduate college, career, or military ready.
100%.
Everybody.
Everybody graduating.
Everybody graduating. And they have to earn it. You will come to school, you will make the grade, and we're holding you accountable to not only standards outlined by the state of Texas, but what I like to call the golden standard. Because in Marlin, everything we touch turns to gold.
Everything we touch turns to gold.
Children, teachers, principals, ourselves, our minds, their hearts, everything we touch in Marlin ISD turns to gold, the golden standard.
I'm gonna kind of steal that one. I'm not trying to steal that. Everything I touch turn to gold, because that is a different type of mentality to come in and say you will, not just, oh, I think my kid, oh, I think we can do it. I think we'll do it. But you're like, okay, we've set a standard.
Yes.
What did that standard, but like Dr. Henson, what did that look like though? Like, what does it look like to come in with that kind of, because 10 years is a long time. 10 years is a whole
It's
generation
a
of
long
kids.
time.
And that's when I read that. I was like, 10 years is a long time for kids to be in the underperforming and nothing to change. But what difference do you think that you came in and you had to have been the difference?
Well, it wasn't just me. The whole thing I've been saying this evening, it was about me plus the staff. It was truly all of us coming together. My bishop says that there is a pain to potential. Potential is coulda, woulda, and shoulda. I focus in on performance. So yes, there is a notion of motivation and hope, and that's good. But then when you couple that with systems, I believe that losers have goals and winners have systems. Anyone can have a goal.
Wait, say that again.
Losers have goals and winners have systems. And so we put in place systems that were going to be able to track the academics of every child. We all hear in interviews across the world, children first. We care about our children, but how do you track and monitor their success or their gap? We tracked every single student in the district. So we saw if you began to revert a little bit, if you began to moonwalk a little bit back, we were going to push you forward because we had an obligation and a responsibility.
I absolutely love that, because it is. I've got to say that again. Wait a minute. Losers have goals
And
and
winners
winners
have
have.
systems. Everyone has a goal. I want to do this. Okay, I want to be a millionaire. But what's my system to achieve the goal that I have set forth? And keep in mind, we have children's lives in our hands. And I don't think a lot of people understand that. We have a community. The future of a community is in the hand and it's in the decisions that we make. So what are we doing every single day to put forth great decisions that are going to impact the community, the schools, the children, anyone involved in a positive way to change the trajectory of where they were headed?
I think I have 2 questions.
Yes, ma'am.
2 questions, because that right there took me out. What's your fight song? What is your when I'm down and I'm like, what's your fight song?
Here we go. I have 2 fight songs.
Okay, I'll take them.
One fight song, of course, is Praise Him in Advance by Marvin Sapp. I believe that you do have to praise him in advance because I was raised in the church. But also Nuck If You Buck by Crime Mob. Nuck If You Buck. Sometimes you got to turn that on and get hype. You nucky and you buck. Yeah, Nuck If You Buck.
I love it. I love it. What last minute advice do you have for last minute advice?
You have to believe in yourself. Everyone's not going to be your biggest cheerleader, but if you believe in yourself, and sometimes your confidence has to precede your competence, but you do everything that you can do to gain the skill set and the knowledge because it's going to be incumbent upon you to pass on vitamin M to others.
And this has been your Vitamin M. We will see you on next week.
Follow Dr. Henson on X at DRHENSON2. Join us next week to get your weekly dose of vitamin M. Please visit our website at www.marshallsterling.com.